ladies and gentlemen, for the Fringe FM. Coming at you live from the middle of nowhere, the center of everywhere. Here once again to give you yet another scrumptious dose of conversational boogie. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Shift Happens. Yes, do follow us on Twitter at Shift Happens Pod. You can follow me, your host Gigi, over at GGRabbit1, also on Twitter. And joining us as per usual is our associate producer Brad Harris. You can follow him on Twitter at ADSBradHarris, although I don't think he's quite right here. He will be in...
What do you mean I'm
on? Oh, there he is. Bam! Right on time. Right on time.
Yeah. You know, you have to have a way to fix you.
There you go. And what's happening, everybody in the chat? Going on? Mike J, Kat. Oh, Dan James from Australia tuning in. Nice and on time. Welcome, Dan. Long time no see. And, ladies and gentlemen, we are also joined tonight by a guest co-host for the... So, first of all, JP couldn't make it tonight. It's his birthday weekend. He's off doing birthday things. And you know, made some calls today. And one thing led to another. And we've got... You know, we've had several guest co-hosts, at least 4 or 5 over the last 5 years, and this is a first-time guest co-host for Shift Happens, and that is none other than Jess Rogie from Escape the Simulation. Is it Escape the Simulation?
Yes, Escape the Simulation.
Yeah,
I like it.
And, it's such a good name. I can't believe that nobody took that. And you were the first one. You know, that's really good.
Sounds really cool with the echo too.
Yeah, I'm like, where's this echo coming from?
Oh, is there an echo? You guys hearing an echo?
No, it's back in. You sound good now.
He's back.
Okay, I was going to say, because there's nothing I can do about that.
Hello. Is it still echoing?
Beautiful comment.
But yeah, so Jess Rogie's going to be co-hosting tonight. So thanks, Jess, for joining us tonight. And as always, it's going to be an absolutely epic show with Rick here. And there's certainly never going to be a single dull millisecond of a moment. We're going to be going full speed this whole time, as always. And hey, what's up, Deb? Deb from Sacramento.
I've just been invited to do some TV, my first TV, with Jon Stewart from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I told you my bucket list included opening for Saturday Night Live. He apparently heard that, thought I was very cool because he's a fan. And so now I may be doing some TV with a new show. Where are you from, Mom? And what was your name? It doesn't have it down here. It has the big code.
My name is Jess Rogie, and I'm from Southern California.
Oh, cool. Hi. I wish they had your name there because I'm visual. And I don't do very good audio. And when I see something, I've got it forever. I have an eidetic memory. That was my gift. It's not photographic. It's even better. It's like I can close my eyes, 20 years later, bring your face up and see the mole on your top forehead.
Wow.
No, I didn't notice, 20 years earlier.
Hey, Rick, don't forget to plug us when you're on that show. Don't forget
What's that, sir?
Shift Happens.
Oh, what? Audio.
I know we're a mile ahead. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, he said make sure you give us a shout out when you're on that show. Be like, yeah, Shift Happens. And so there you go. And now let's see. So
we were on last time we were on was in December, I think it was.
I believe so, right? December or January, probably December. Uh-huh. Yeah. And
how I am.
Yeah, here we are.
No, I'm good. I'm like really good that way. That's why the military still uses me. I'm 77 years old. I found out how to get younger.
And
Do it slow.
Yeah, and
there's an article on Pod that that talks about that. It's Buddhist form, mostly from Japan, and they came out of Japanese culture. Big article on it.
All right, and
here's the Masonic secret for the Mass of the Holy Ghost. Sex magic. The thought that occurs at the moment of climax happens.
Huh.
And the reason is that my close encounter at Groom Lake, when I went to level 8, that one tour where I met Krill, she and I doors are starting to open on what actually happened. I was 20 minutes. Okay, let me give you some background. Back then, we knew about aliens in the 70s, but we were more concerned about what the Russians were doing because of Sputnik and the space race. That was like a big deal. And when I was at Mission Control in 1971 with Ed Mitchell doing the ESP study for NASA, that's how old I am. Back then, ESP and hypnosis were pseudosciences. Today, we understand extrasensory perception to deal with the enteric nervous system and instinct, like a dog has it. And when they have that countdown, 5, 4, 3, okay, when they do that countdown, the reason they're doing that for the precision back then was they had to punch a hole in the ionosphere to get an astronaut through it. He wouldn't live otherwise.
Well, and
there's a bubble around the Earth, and they had to. Today we have HAARP and other mechanisms. That's why they have them at both sides of the globe, down in Adelaide and the one up in Alaska, because spaceflight now needs to have that hole punched through in order to get an astronaut through it.
Well, and also through the Van Allen belt too, as well. You gotta.
Well, the Van Allen belt is part of it, but it's the ionosphere that's the problem.
Okay.
And the Van Allen belt is just the least of it. There's a bubble around the sun, and there's a bubble around out past the Oort cloud. And these are protective things for man because there'd be no way. So part of the last work I did with Navy intelligence back in the 80s, before I left and went into agriculture, was I'm tangenting, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have stayed with my story. So I didn't do alien studies. They had me do paranormal studies under Dr. Carl Schleicher. That's what I was primarily deployed, working out of the University of Washington. I was Northwest Regional Director, so I had access to Argonne, Livermore, Jet Propulsion Labs. Andrei Puharich was working SRI at that time and was one of my mentors, but I was over him in terms of projects. He had Bill Tiller and other people like that back then that were brilliant men trying to look at paranormal studies because, when you watch a woman rip a car door off to save her child, that's impossible. There's no way adrenaline has made her body, muscle, and bone stronger than steel. So how does that work? Okay, I'm writing a new field theory right now with 2 Russians on that very thing, and I'll talk about that later in the program if you want. It'll deal with a multiverse which will supersede my holographic universe by 47 years. This will be my swan song in moving to the next level. If time isn't real, what does that make your daughter and your great-grandfather? Okay? Physics will not get you there. It will get you close. Like Simon says, you can go halfway to the door, but right out of the gate, it starts with assumed truth. Things that you believe are true. And that is the limitation of man's ability to conceptualize. That's the problem with physics. It'll get you close, but you can't get there with physics. That's why you have 2 brains.
Did you ever get to point where? Did you ever get to the point, with that mindset where you're like, look, where in the hell am I right now?
I am David Copperfield with my empty bowl telling the Lord, sir, I'm hungry and I want something more than the physical plane, please. Okay? Now, with that said, Krill, I had 20 minutes with her. It was a feminine. That's what And Ellen Frey and I tried to figure out how she could talk inside my head, and that led to synthetic telepathy and the early Mind Wars projects that I did with Ellen Frey. But that's not how they communicate. And some of the doors that were closed to me, it's like a memory I can't quite get to, like who played and being there, Peter Sellers, but you can't think of the name, but you know who it is, and you can't quite get there. That's what happened with my memories. And now, right now, some doors are opening. It's very exciting for me to remember what I'm doing now is experiencing.
Yes.
Well, emotions they don't use language. Mm-hmm. They communicate with emotions, not like we do it. Emotions like anger, and it's something far more profound. And 20 minutes of exposure to this form of communication is like a lifetime of words. And okay, that's just one door. There's several thousand, and they're opening now for me. And it's a deep honor to have been selected to try to understand what that is. So we go to the Russians. Last year, Max Rempel made a breakthrough on the proton cloud in a biological experiment proving that the DNA and biological processes are resonant cavity oscillators. Do you understand the implications of that?
I would imagine that a lot of the audience does not. So let's explain what that means.
The gut, the enteric nervous system, is a hierarchy of bacteria and viruses communicating to each other one level up, each one passing information up in resonance. It hits a resonance, it occurs the next life form above that, and it resonates up. Man is in a similar position as a metaphor. And why you have two brains, because physics and religion, your two brains, are what made you God's favored choice. The multiverse is the space between when a proton is a particle and when it becomes a wave. And that's where all the different parts of you, how many decisions did you make today?
I don't know.
That each one, when you did it this way over that way today, is a different universe. And over a lifetime, you have your grandfather and your daughter making different choices, because consciousness is a shared dream. It's not real. There are dream states like lucid dreaming that have more content to reality. So what exactly is consciousness but a shared dream where we're dialoguing? Imagine 50 years ago, not 100, 50 years ago, a farmer watching you and I in England, you and I communicating like we are with pictures and audio. What would he think? Now imagine an alien race that had 10,000 years further advancement before man. And you can't comprehend it any more than you can comprehend what the Lord is. You can experience the Lord, but you can't know him, because you're not capable. We're limited in our ability to conceptualize. And I can give you some examples later on the studies having to do with the Carrington-like events and the solar, or what we call the Parker dive last year. That's based on work I did back in the 70s, trying to confirm when our next Carrington-like event is going to occur. And I can tell you what I know, which is I don't know, but according to my calculations, that's how they put that on my yearbook. That's when I graduated from high school. That's the little logo they put on my statement for you to remember who I was in high school. I had ... According to my calculations ... and it goes downhill from there. But,
and really quick, can we expand on what the Carrington situation was? Because some of our audience might not know that.
Carrington-like event is when there's a major event on Earth, earthquake, whatever, that will affect large groups of humans, possibly an epoch.
Right, and
Now,
the last
time
one
isn't real. And this is how we're going to get into this. If time isn't real, why do we have epochs? And we quote, "Been here before," like with Romana. And now it's okay. That would suggest we're in a petri dish.
right.
We get up to a certain level of development, and we're slammed right down to zero. And it's like Cro-Magnon versus Neanderthal. Well, what we've got right now is human versus GMO. No different. There are two kinds of humans right now. Cigarettes, vaping, and pot are all bad for you. However, yeah, I got all three of you. But however,
yeah.
Busted. Okay, here's the deal. I don't smoke pot anymore. Why?
What about mushrooms?
Wait, you don't smoke?
Mushrooms are a toxin.
Hold on.
I'm going to go there. I have a Schedule 1 in Canada growing tonnage.
We're getting all over the place here.
Okay.
I have a Schedule 1 growing tonnage of psychedelic mushrooms for the Canadian government. And I am the first to say that medicine is going in a wrong direction with placebo and depression using mushrooms. Because I can do the same thing with using Mora and Endomet German acupuncture equipment. I can create any high using electric currents on the forehead and releasing specific neurotransmitters. It is the neurotransmitter that is actually doing the job, not the drug. The drug is put there as a delivery system, like 5-alpha. Dimethyltryptamine is what you smoke in a pipe.
Right.
But N hyphen is the one I told Rick Strassman to study because he worked under me when I was doing the initial studies on telepathine. I did BZ drugs, BZ gas. I did ketamine. I can tell you that ketamine, for example, is extremely dangerous because it opens doors to neighborhoods in the multiverse you do not necessarily want to visit and or are ready to visit, like going down into Harlem.
Right. Hopefully that's kind of like
okay. Now, I did 3 books that are going to be coming out this next year: The Diamond Body, Electromagic, and Yogatronics. And The Diamond Body is the work I did in discovering cymatics in 1974 when I moved the Menninger Foundation in Topeka, Kansas, to the University of Washington and started using an EMU and a Buchla for video feedback systems. And that's when I discovered sound and light affect physical organs in the body, not just audio. And what happened next is in 1979, I used Mora and Endomet to bypass drugs, and I could simulate any drug experience using electric currents on the forehead. And then that's Electromagic. Yogatronics is the work I did in 1983, where I created my own wormhole and did the Mars Project using the Wernicke correction in the brain. Now, these are way ahead of what's going on, but that's why Lockheed then developed their teleportation laser. And now what CERN is actually doing is creating a rapid transit system, the Fermilabs in Chicago. I call it Chicago. But actually, what's actually happening is that we can't travel in normal space as we understand it. The gamma rays, neutrinos, other kinds of things, there's no defense on it. You're dead before you reach Mars. How do you get there? And if you want to Google my work on that, it's already historically documented under the Google of 2 keywords: the Mars Project, capitalize them, and Wernicke's correction. Wernicke is a particular part of the brain near the reticular activating center that recovers and fixes confabulation with memory. And Wernicke's correction is how it corrects the confabulation one does. And interestingly, if anyone is hypnotized and taken down to that part of the brain, in the things, what will happen next is, depending on no matter what race, whether you're African, from Israel, Russia, whatever, genetic pool, we all have memory of having worked on the planet Mars, because that's where man came from. And before that, I'm O negative. I'm a seed stock. Came out of the Van Allen belt. And I can tell you, not the Van Allen belt, the asteroid cloud, the one that's in
the Oort cloud.
The asteroid belt, yeah. That was a planet that where originally man was created. I'm speaking like as a metaphor, because what I'm saying isn't true. It's a metaphor, and I'll explain that in a second. If a physicist says that the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, the Earth's round. But if I can prove space is curved, and I can with gravity and our new experiments, then the Earth's flat.
Right.
Now, which one is it? And that's our limitation on our conceptualization of what space is. I watched astrology become astronomy, and then Czechoslovakia took it to the next level of cosmobiology. Geometric position of planets in the Earth affect the ovulation cycle in a woman. If she moves on Earth, that ovulation cycle changes, and she's got a birth control system. Now, that was 1972. I did that work. And 74, the Department of Interior had me vet when the planet Uranus, which in astrology is a higher octave of Earth, is in the same geometric position as the Earth and the Sun. You can count on a 3 sigma, 99.9975% probability of a Carrington-like event on Earth. And the next one, according to Mike, and suspicious observer, others haven't even considered that. They're basically basing their work on solar minimums. And solar minimums are very predictable, but there are different kinds of solar minimums. And the one that is associated with Uranus is going to happen in March, late March, early April 2024, according to my calculations. Now, you can...
I like that.
That's why Matt Stein and I were doing urban survival skill workshops, trying to get all these bunkers having oars.
Well, now that we're talking about planets in our solar system, I have to ask you, have you heard anything about a hidden planet of water, maybe ice?
You mean Nibiru?
Hidden behind Uranus called, I think it's called Ceres? Ceres?
That's your so-called double ganger concept. You know, alternate Earth on the other side. You know,
break it off.
Yeah, Nibiru. I was at Jet Propulsion Laboratory when one of my buddies said, you know, Nibiru, the IR signature on Nibiru is wrong. And I said, oh, you mean it's got a Dyson sphere around it with our future coming to meet our present? Short circuit in them. But that's a fact. There are other things in our solar system that we have not yet identified, like the Oort cloud and what that is and what it is not. Now, I almost went into astrophysics. That was going to be my solid, you know, at Della. But old man DuPont had me go in the opposite direction, and I did quantum mechanics with solid-state physics. And that's what led me to the holographic concept, because quantum mechanics won't get you there. When you take an analog system and digitize it, you lose what you gain. That means Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Gotcha. You got to pin it down. You got a time coming up. Yeah. Time break. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh no, we're actually gonna. I mean, unless you want to take a break, I was just gonna skip it.
I've given you a lot to think about.
Yeah, you have. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and take a little break, and when we come back, which, by the way, never had a fair chance to introduce our guest, which is Dr. Richard Alan Miller. Half an hour into the show. Yeah, there you go. And,
all hail Eris. All hail Callisti.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let me do the thing that does the stuff. And that's the thing that does the stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Shift Happens here for the Fringe FM. I'm your host, Gigi, along with our associate producer, Brad Harris, and our guest co-host of the evening, Jess Rogie from Escape the Simulation and the Rogie Report. on the Fringe FM, and we'll be back here in just a few short musical minutes. Yes! Don't go anywhere.
lusting, and his hunger for power became known to more and more people, the demands to do something about this outrageous man became louder and louder.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for the Fringe FM. This is Shift Happens. I am your host, Gigi. We are back. We are back. And, I just now realized that song might not be appropriate for the current times in the state of the world. But you know what? That's a good song. I don't care who you are. That's a good song right there. And this was written a long time ago. Man, I think that was 1969, I believe. 1969. Yeah, Rah Rah Rasputin by Boney M. Get there while you can. And I know not all of you are a fan of it, but you know what? I don't give a shift. I love it. I love it. It's such a good song. And it's a historical song as well. So there you go. And
Historical.
Absolutely historical. And so now we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Gigi, along with our guest co-host of the evening, Jess Rogie from Escape the Assimilation and from the Rogie Report News.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, Gigi.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. You could be doing a lot of other things, but you're here tonight, so I really appreciate that. And we're also here with Brad Harris, our associate producer.
That's right. Just here, doing my thing in the back seat. Come on, let's rock.
And we are joined tonight with our guest, Dr. Richard Bleepin' Allen Miller. Yes. Yes,
How do you go?
absolutely.
Neat.
All right, so now,
It's all done with mirrors.
I
Don't
want to.
bogart that joint, my friend. Roll another one, just like the other one. Been there,
All right.
done that. I'm right on it. Neat.
Yeah, baby.
Yes.
You forgot about that one, didn't you?
No, I
You
didn't.
do.
I didn't.
Well, no, but I feed my dog bacon.
Oh, well, that's perfect.
Oh,
Yes.
wait
Yes.
now. Another thing he said, wait till they get a load of me.
You know,
He
and,
played
and
the Joker and
and-
Batman. Wait till they get a load of me.
you know, so
Good as it gets.
So Kat in the chat room
Dr.
says that that song that we just played. She says it was a great song. What do you mean was? What are you talking about?
Well,
It still
in
is.
1969,
It
I was
still
working
is.
for Boeing before I went into anesthesiology. In 1969, Boeing lost the B-1 contract, and 30,000 PhDs hit the streets in Seattle. There was a big sign that said, with the last person out of town, please turn off the lights. And I
Yeah.
immediately moved from being a supervisor at Boeing to anesthesiology, 4th floor. Boys from Brazil.
All right. Well, hold on.
That's 69 where I was.
Yeah. Well, did you hear that song back then? Do you remember that song, Rick? Do you remember that song?
Which one are we talking about?
Rah,
Cher?
rah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen.
Oh, yeah. There's all these songs that came out of the 60s when, the New York thing happened. In Seattle, we had an equivalent called the Seattle. I went to all the Sky Rivers. I watched up in Strawberry Mountain when Janis Joplin got off and sang A Little Piece of Her Heart. It was pouring down rain. Everybody was muddy. They had these big bonfires. You think you're smoking a joint. They rolled them stiffs back then. You had to hold them like this. And a long time ago in a faraway universe, I took my first hit of LSD in 1964 when it was still
nice.
legal, and Harvard was doing a study on what would happen if they gave it to high IQ
That's right, because
individuals.
you were friends with, I'll let you tell them.
With who?
Yeah, you were friends with some pretty prolific LSD-related people back in the day.
Yeah, that's Chinook. I'm had to do a gauntlet and became roadman for the Northern Cheyenne doing peyote, first sanctioned ritual in Seattle. Actually, it was down in Olalla, just south of Tacoma. There were two rituals that we did. I was the roadman. We had a woman that would come in the morning after breaking everything. That's the song woman, where Witchy Taito and all of those old songs came from, were originally out of there's a book called Peyote Music, written in 1948, when the Northern Cheyenne started the Native American religion as a political event to be able to set up tribal rights on Indian land where they could not be part of the American government, they could be sovereign. And Washington sports a lot of those, whereas down here in Oregon, the tribes have pretty much been scattered because of gold. That was the main problem. I was teaching shamanism at the University of Washington in 1970, because I had studied with Mircea Eliade. I had studied on Just Another Door Opened.
Well, you know what? Hold on, Rick. I can tell where this is going. Let's let's take a pause here, and I want to ask. I want to completely change the whole direction of this conversation.
Thank you. I just had a hit.
Yeah, no, I can see it in your eyes, and yes, I think
it's wonderful. It's like an enlightenment, and every moment there's something trying to stop it too. I don't know what that is. From 4 platforms, Microsoft 7. I was about to deliver 3 weeks ago. I was going to deliver my first technical paper, mathematics, on knot theory 101. That was what it was called. And the night before, I had done Kerry Cassidy with no problem. And the next morning, this camera that you're looking at right now would no longer work because it was unsupported with Windows 7 when they turned it off. And there were 450 scientists there wanting to hear what I had to say. Oh. Now, if you go to academia.edu, you'll see those technical papers are now posted under my name, Dr. Richard Allen Miller. I'm co-authoring with 2 Russians, leading some footprints to a new field theory I'm going to write on knot theory using Kaufman.
And this new field theory we definitely want to get to at a certain point in the show. But right now,
never mind. Okay, bring me back to the truth. Sorry.
But right now, I do want to ask you about something that you told me years ago. You told me about this, and as many times as we've had you on the show, which is a countless amount of times, we've had you on the show more than any other guest that's ever been on the show. And one thing oh no, thank you. And one thing I've never really asked you about was your trip to Antarctica.
Ooh.
Oh, we've talked about that, I'm sure, haven't you?
Well, we talked about it on the phone, but I don't think we've talked about it on the show.
That was not a study. Yeah, that was not a study I did. That was a study that woman anthropologist did. I'm getting feedback, by the way. Watch your mic or something. I was hired as the physicist to determine how the light worked in the cavern. That led to electrophoresis and the concept of bioluminescence. Basically, it was a bacteria on the wall that was eating algae, and it creates light, bioluminescence. And that's why my solid-state physics background was good. We went in through Sewell Island in a sub directly into a cave underwater that had been discovered previously. I was there as my job.
Okay, hold on. I hate to cut you off, man. But you just glossed over a lot of very fascinating things. So first of all, you went to Antarctica. What was this, back in the 70s?
Yeah, 74.
Okay. Now, what did you see? What were you shown in Antarctica?
There's a cave that's it's underwater. That's maybe a mile high. I mean, we're talking about a huge cave. One that, there was a Nazi base there. There were 19 slips where ships could go in, 19 slips. They had looked like they had been destroyed by nuclear weapon or something because everything was. But then further down, there was maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles. There was a Viking base from the 14th century.
That's exactly what I remember you telling me, that there was a Viking base.
It's not in history. And further down, and I'm talking maybe about 12 or 18 miles down, there was this hole in the earth that went 100 miles straight down into the mantle. Now, back then in the 70s, we did not have the technology to explore that. We couldn't go straight down 100 miles. We have things now that might do that, but back then we did.
Are you sure?
And so we had no speculation. Buzz Aldrin, a friend of mine, told me what he saw because I know all the astronauts because of the work I did with Ed Mitchell. But Aldrin said what they found down below, why they quarantined the island, was that there were a bunch of Nephilim that were in stasis, and they started to wake up, and that's why they quarantined the island. I have no idea what's happened since then.
Okay. Huh.
I don't know. What I did was the physics on how the light worked, and that was bioluminescence. And I took all this other in because I'm a physicist. But of course, we have underground bunkers like that all over the world. I manage some of those for the military now. Well, I don't manage them. What I do is I oversee the kids that are doing it because I've been doing it for so long. You know, I know what they need to do. Each of our bunkers are a little different than Putin, whom I have a handler from Putin, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. I have handlers from several countries because I'm considered an asset. I'm non-political. You know, I'm trying to do the Putin and what's going on in Ukraine. I have no idea, but I can tell you this: he's been at war with NATO since World War II, and it's NATO versus Putin. And I have
that's kind of the
SEAL friends of mine that are in that part of the world, married to women, and they stayed in those countries like Thailand, that are giving me reports. Nothing we're being told is true, good, bad, or ugly, on either side. Putin is 69 years old. He's been a dictator for a long time. One thing I can say about Putin, he's done more for Mother Russia as a nationalist than any leader in their history. Stalin, he's others.
He's a very smart and intelligent person, and he
is.
knows what he's doing. I
disagree with him. As a handler.
That's what's scary. That's the scary part about it all, is that he actually does know what he's doing. That's what makes it really scary.
No, he does anesthesia, for example, projects for where Matt and I were doing more habitat sensitive for bunkers. You have to take into account where you're setting up your bunker as a priority, and they don't do that over in Russia as much using anesthesia projects. But so yes and no. Putin's very smart. Yes, my handler is in New Jersey. He's an old Wall Streeter that retired, and he married an Albanian or someone. I forget but he became a liaison. And now is my handler when Putin wants to work with me, or I need to get the Russian mafia off my neck here in Oregon. They have taken over the Mexican mafia with methamphetamine and things. The Russian mafia is running all the long haul and all the dispensaries now here in the West Coast. Yeah, they've taken. And if you thought the Mexicans were bloody. And because of my work with Lunar Base Alpha 1, of course, they wanted me to work with them in growing pot. Because if you want to read about my work in there, High Times did an article on me in February 1992, 22 years later, on Lunar Base Alpha 1 in my interview. That was Tom Lytle that did Psychedelic Monographs and Essays that did the editorial. Trout, some of the others, Shulgin, were all personal friends of mine, because that's what I did for the military, was the drug studies and in anesthesiology. I did ketamine, telepathine, which was BZ, and BZ gas. And BZ gas is really kind of creepy. You have no concept of the kind of high you get from that. And ketamine is extremely dangerous. When I say dangerous, you are dealing with entities that even Negadev couldn't write about. Negadev was one of the people that wrote about stick aliens with dimethyltryptamine and so on. You'll remember your history. And there's all kinds of things going on that man has not yet been able to conceptualize. And it has to do with our limitation in conceptualization. For example, while we focus on what we're doing, how many ants are on your field, and who's terraforming the earth more? Hive consciousness. And so with that said, there are four cetacean on this planet, in my humble opinion, have higher technologies than man. Just because man has a thumb in fire does not make him superior. Orca, who has a cerebral cortex that's literally twice the size of man, is firing 60% of it.
Yeah.
Not 10. And can go to 9/10 of the biosphere, where man is limited to only 1/10 of the biosphere. Who's superior? And orca, chases dolphin on the food chain. And dolphin is the next in line, also with bigger brain cases than man. They're pilot whale and manatee. All four have them. And then you go to elephants in Cambodia that have been taught how to paint, and even with a smaller brain case than man, can demonstrate an awareness of self in the way they paint themselves than man even possesses, or I do. And dogs, little brain cases, are closer to spirit. So what do you think is going on here? Well, man is in the food chain thinking we're superior, when in fact we're in a petri dish. And what they're doing, in my humble opinion, is dumbing us down so we'll mine more gold for their Dyson spheres, as a metaphor.
Okay,
they made us want to have something more than the physical
so many
plane.
Times.
I do.
And
breathe, everybody.
Okay, let's hold on. Let's take this back a couple of steps. Let's
Hey,
take
wait,
this back
I
a couple of
got
steps.
a question about the pot thing.
Okay,
Like a minute, like 2
We can
minutes
go all over
ago.
the place. I'm good. I'm circular. Not
All
linear.
right. Go ahead, Gigi. I'll circle back at the end of the show.
What's that, sir?
Go ahead,
all right.
Gigi.
So I want to know. I mean, we just kind of glossed over what you saw in Antarctica, and I think that's a huge deal. That's a pretty big deal.
There's things going on that we don't even have a clue.
Why not? Why do we not have a clue?
Because
why are they not
we're
telling us?
limited with, how did Gecko put it in the movie Wall Street? Green is good.
Well, yeah, weed is usually pretty good.
We're focused too much on physical world. And like, I'm a Satangi. I was initiated by Sharon Singh himself. When I had darshan, he looked me straight in the eye. At the moment of my initiation, he said, at the moment of my death, that he personally would be there to take me across the abyss. Now, that's the best hallucination I've ever been given. And so that's from 1978 to this moment, I train my mind. I meditate a minimum of 1 to 2 hours every day, where I go quiet and I go down.
Yeah, but
And then you do what's called Simran and Bhajan. Simran is when you do a series of God names. I'm not going to give you mine. I'll give you the ones that you're most familiar with. Noho Ringi Kyo, 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 Noho Ringi Kyo. You do the Simran to where your mind is overwhelmed, and actually it has to do with real God names. I'm not going to do that because I'd take on your karma. But then you stop and you listen with the left ear or with the right ear. And that's the Shabad, S-H-A-B-D, or sound current, or the lost chord. And all of you are hearing it. You ignore it. I'm hearing it more and more because I'm closer to union. What that actually is not what Terence McKenna called zero-point energy. What that is the mycelium in the mycorrhiza as the nervous system of the earth communicating to the plants and man.
So what's the ringing of the ear? Like today, my ears like got all weird, and then it started ringing.
You hear a sound, and it's like
wait, hold on. That's a really good question that came from Brad, and I think I'm going to articulate on that question. That is, you're just going about your day, right? Like, I don't know, you're washing your dishes, you're doing your laundry, right? You're going to smoke a cig outside, like whatever. You know, you're already doing something. And then all of a sudden, you get this random frequency happening in your ear. And
Right.
it just comes
Right.
out of nowhere. What is that?
Talk all about it.
What
Voice
is
of the
that?
Silence.
What is it?
What is
The
it?
Voice of the Silence, translated by Crowley, by Blavatsky, others, William and Westcott. They translated, it is called The Voice of the Silence. You can look it up on the internet, all the different translations of it. Comes from the Upanishads. Has to do with what the Moody Blues sang as the lost chord. Om.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Now, with all of that said, there's more going on here. And
There
consciousness
certainly
is
is.
a shared dream. It's not real. And I went out.
So,
I want to wake up.
okay.
As a metaphor. You know, and
Yeah.
I know I'm inequipped with my skill sets and what I know. Even with my mind, I'm trapped in this petri dish. And it's like humans versus GMO, very much like Cro-Magnon versus Neanderthal. Two kinds of human. And the one is being dumbed down. Look at your children as your single most important natural resource and what they're doing in our educational processes today. It's a crime against humanity. That's why Gates is enjoying a little visit at The Hague.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in myself. I'm disappointed this alien wanted to talk to me, and I think she pre-programmed me for doing things what I'm doing now. I don't know. That's doors opening.
Should we?
There's something more going on here, and I haven't got a clue. Trying
Yeah,
to be as honest
and-
as I can. Antarctica
No,
was a
that's-
physical thing. I saw it. I didn't quite understand it, and now I'm doing bunkers. You know, I can go anywhere on the East Coast, from Maine all the way down into Florida, without ever having to go above ground.
Underground
Midwest.
tunnels?
What's that?
Are you talking about underground tunnels?
Yes. Yes.
Are they all over the country?
Yes.
Hmm.
Dennis Kucinich, when I interviewed him, I told him he did a 3-hour interview with me, with Mike Hagan. Remember Mike Hagan? He's older than you guys. I did a 3-hour interview with Dennis Kucinich, but I told Dennis, if we're going to do this interview, we'll do it with absinthe. By the third hour, he was gums. His wife has a tongue stud, by the way. That's very cool. He calls himself the president of the Midwest, and at the end, gave me a limo with his driver that was going to later go to Evergreen, where I was first faculty in Olympia. And he took me to 8 different bunkers in 4 states, including Wichita. And the one in Wichita, where Arlo Guthrie was living, came out with his daughter and his granddaughter and sang a little Americana for me. And that's what our bunkers are about. Well, I'll tell you, there's more going on. And with this thing with Ukraine and Putin and the United States, and the difference between Trump, who was his friend and was trying to help Putin, as opposed to Biden, that's now building a wall around the White House.
All right, well, we will get back to that right after this commercial break, okay? All right, and... Oh boy. All right, there we go. We'll be back here in just a few short commercially musical minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Dr. Richard Allen Miller right here for Shift Happens on the Fringe FM. All right, Here we go.
KTLK Digital Broadcasting, TheFringe.FM, Napa Valley, California, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Tired of talking about the weather? No, Shift. Well, Shift Happens is here to fulfill your desires as you reach that point in life where you crave tantalizing conversation about reality, ufology, the occult, and the conspiracies within, while simultaneously finding yourself desperately in need of your very own theme music, which we've got plenty of that too. So be sure to tune in to Shift Happens every Friday night from 7 to 9 Pacific, right here on The Fringe FM. Because the weather sucks, and you need some theme music.
Ever seen an extraterrestrial? It can be hard to believe they exist unless you've seen one for yourself. What if I told you I've seen them my whole life, but have never had a witness who shared the encounter with me? Now, what if I told you I saw 4 of them, 2 with blue skin, and there are over 20 witnesses to this CE5 event? My new book, The Blue Beings, Visitation at the UFO Conference, documents actual accounts from real witnesses, many of which have gone on record to attest to this otherworldly reality. Be a part of the quantum paradigm shift that is taking place right now. Go to johnpolkmedia.com to get your copy of The Blue Beings, Visitation at the UFO Conference, on sale right now at johnpolkmedia.com. That's JOHNPOLK media.com.
This is Ronnie LeBlanc, author of Monsterland, Encounters with UFOs, Bigfoot, and Orange Orbs, and you're listening to Shift Happens on KTLK, The Fringe FM.
KTLK Digital Broadcasting. We rock the paranormal talk.
And we're back. Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, for the French FM, this is Shift Happens. I'm your host, Gigi, along with associate producer Brad Harris.
Thank you very much. That was a nice one. How was your Kung Fu kick tonight?
Yes, and we're also joined by our guest co-host of the evening, Jess Rogie, from Escape the Simulation and the Rogie Report on the Fringe FM. What's happening, Jess?
Man, this has been like so much information. Like we went from Antarctica to Russian mafia stuff, stick aliens. I wanted to know more about stick aliens. You mentioned that. There's just been so much in this short period of time. Where are we going with it all, Dr. Richard?
Well, let's go there. How about that?
Yeah.
Am I still here? I can't get you up on my screen. I tried to share a screen on what I look like today as Alfred E. Newman at 70 years old. Did you see that?
Yeah, just see a blank white screen.
Here, let me pull this up first. I got a picture of May. How come that's flashing like that?
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that Skype sucks, and
Yeah,
I hate
it does.
Skype. I hate Skype.
Yeah, I hear you.
All of my
I also hate
life
Skype.
and liver. I hate Skype. Yes.
It's Microsoft doing their thing.
All right. Well, we'll see.
You know what doesn't suck though, Gigi?
What's that?
Is this music. Can you turn it up just for one more second?
I can actually.
Yeah, let's just rock that for a second.
Window desktop, choose screen to share. I'm turning. I'm going to do window desktop. That should. Why is it flashing on me? What have I done wrong? How do I change this?
I don't think you did anything wrong. I think you're being
Well, it's
attacked.
flashing on my screen really weird. I'm getting weird feedback.
Yeah, same thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just showing our screen in the screen.
What's that?
White on
You
my
see
end.
this Alfred E. Newman? It's on my screen. How do I close them? Open with, no, I'm going to copy, delete. I don't want to do that. I'm going to close this down. There you are. Now I'm going to open this up. No, I can't do that. That's another screen. What am I doing here? New view. Okay, here we go. Nope, that's not it. I'm stuck here. I don't know. It's got a text on it. I can't get out of it.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll just keep on going.
Okay, what time is it, by the way? Oh, it's a little after 8. This is very disconcerting for me. I wish there was a way I could close this down. I'm going to close some things down.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I'm going to close this and see what happens. What happened? Where are you? Are you there?
Yeah,
we're here. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we're.
Yeah, but I can't see you or talk to you now. Everything's on my screen. It's weird.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy, is Julie there? Does she know?
No, she's not here.
Oh boy. Okay.
I'm alone. Okay. Skype says it's closed. I'm closing this down. I'm lost. I don't know. Why don't you? I'm going to try to close my computer, reboot it, call me right back. Okay?
I didn't
Give me
do
2
anything.
minutes.
But,
Okay.
all right,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm going to shut down and reboot. Okay? No,
All
I'm going to reboot. They've done something to me here. I'm restarting. I'll talk.
All right.
We'll see you in a minute.
Yeah, just give me a Skype back.
Oh, man. It's like the screen was... I wasn't seeing anything but a white screen. I don't know about you, Gigi.
Yeah, that's exactly what I see. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a trip. Yeah, it got white, and then the audio was good, though. So, all right.
Yeah, well,
Let's see.
the audio better be good for all the shit that we paid for.
I don't know, man. Skype, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant shift. For the shift that we pay for. Yeah. Should be good. But, yeah, we'll see. But in the meantime...
Why do you use Skype, Gigi? Can I ask you that? I mean, there's so many other things you could use.
Well, because Skype usually works the best. Usually. Although, obviously, this is an exception. But
there are many other options. You could use Zoom as well. There's also like other the other streaming things. Like, unless you love Skype.
I mean, No, I do not love Skype. In fact, I hate Skype. How do I hate Skype? But well, this is while we're doing this,
I want to touch on a couple of things that man, I didn't realize that he was so involved in so much research.
Right?
Dude, he's been like anything you've ever heard of, he actually probably had a part of it. Like that's how gnarly Doc Ram is, for sure. And it looks like we lost him on the call. I'm gonna go ahead and try to add him back.
See if he's back.
Oh wow!
Is he back?
Well, no, but
I think Eric Awakening Man's gonna be popping in here, maybe.
That would be awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Wait, Eric the Adventurer. My bad.
Is that I don't give a fuck about his new name. It's Eric Awakening.
Wait. You don't.
Oh,
give
I'm sorry.
What?
Did I just say the F word? I don't think I did. Did I?
You said fudge, right?
Okay. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry to everybody that affects.
There I am. Here we are.
Here he is.
There we are.
Well, wait a minute. Let me see. Get ready. I had to reboot. That was Microsoft doing it because I'm working on a Windows 7 platform.
I believe you.
Look at this. It's totally different. Were you getting this vision? Because I wasn't getting this picture of my background. No, I better not. I don't have my pants on. Sorry.
Yeah,
well, that's why I'm looking like Alfred E. Newman.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah. There you go.
So
I was trying to show you what Alfred E. Newman looked like when he's 70 years old.
Are you full Monty like right now from the waist down?
How come the camera's all different now? Am I working on a different platform or?
Yeah, it is different for me
too. This is what I'm going through every day in multiple areas, from my phone, my relationship with getting food, everything is messed up.
But you should be good now.
And I'm living in a little shit shack where I had a 4-bedroom home. My library, one of the bedrooms, I took out 400 boxes at 80 pounds each of books.
Wow, that's a lot of books.
And now all of that is in storage where I'm living here, going from upper middle to lower middle class overnight. I'm in a trailer park. Someone is trying to mess with me, and I don't have a clue what is going on. I'm just trying to write Pantheon now. Pantheon is my new book. I'm writing it. It's all written. I'm doing layout. But guess what? 7 doesn't work, and that's how I know how to do indexing and all of that, like I did the non-local mind. This book, the Pantheon, is called The Magical and Ritual Use of Metaphor, Archetypal Gods in Daily Living. And you're either complex or possessed. You have one storyboard, or you have a multiple storyboards. You're complex. And that's how I'm going to use the tarot, using a Greek pantheon. And each one has an ending, like Psyche at the Well of Souls, or Persephone having to go back to Hades once each year like a kid, having to take drugs every Christmas because he's depressed. And each one has an ending. If you don't like the ending, and most people don't, then that's what pathworking is about, where you change the movie. Boo.
Boo.
I can dig that.
Yeah.
I can dig it.
I'm more than anybody realizes, and I've been interested in magic and bringing magic into the physics of it, because we mostly work with metaphor and the way we, you know what, you catch my drift?
Yes, we do. But you know what? I want to go back to Antarctica. Yeah, I really do. Because, here's the one thing. Is that is the only place in the world where every major national country, well, not national, but international, every international country, everybody agrees that nobody is allowed to be over there, much less explore over there. And that is the one mutual international thing that everybody has agreed on. So what the fudge is going on there?
I have no idea, because I wasn't there and was not able to go down that hole. But I'll tell you what I do know. The physics I understand, when you go 100 miles down into the mantle, you're talking about plastique, where steel turns into plastic, and that's technology we don't have yet.
Right, but they just announced, like, I don't know, 2 or 3, maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, they announced that everything that they thought they knew about the middle of the planet turns out to be wrong. You know? They thought it was made of iron or whatever the fuck, whatever the fudge they thought it was made out of. Apparently is, yeah, you know what, give me a break. But it turns out that the multiple ways that they determined that okay, let me restart. It turns out that the middle of the Earth is not so solid. It's actually pretty liquidy. And this is something that just came out from major, like, mainstream news. So what do you think about that, Rick? Is that a bunch of bullshit?
Every year, we make new discoveries. But I'm going to pretend it's more like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where she comes out on stage and says, anything goes. If you can see it, that's the last chapter in my latest book, The Non-Local Mind in a Holographic Universe. Imagination is about the mind's eye. If you see this, like when I try to do words, if I can place the concept of what I'm thinking inside your mind so that you can see it in your own mind's eye, that's what makes it real. And that's why children, or in my humble opinion, are the single most important natural resource. This is very disconcerting. My sound and my camera are different now. And I don't know how that works, because I have an audio system. I need to probably go back and reconfigure, because when I rebooted it came up something else. I apologize. It's not me doing it. Honestly, I swear. I've been under attack on every single orifice. I mean, everything I'm doing, there's something that breaks. The keyboards, the mice, the telephones. I had my girlfriend try to call me 4 times, and it rang, but it didn't ring here. So I didn't even know she was trying to call me.
Yeah, and
I called her, and there'll be a delay, not 2 or 3 seconds before the dialing, ringing, and then it starts to ring. It goes up maybe as much as 40 seconds, more than half a minute.
Yeah, you're
and this is CenturyLink,
You're definitely
Not
being
Centrum,
effed
excuse
with.
me.
Yeah.
This is Charter, now called Spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
This software company, this paddle that I sent you that email on.
Right.
They
yeah.
said they're going to renew my subscription to software I never had. Everybody gets those. But when I said I didn't want to resubscribe, it wouldn't let me do that. What it would let me do is change my paying method. And the bad news was they had all my brand new credit cards to pull from that they were going to do on March 18th. That's when I started threatening them and suggesting I'm 77 and my attorney general likes to do crimes, what they call senior abuse. I'm 77, not 57. And so that's like abusing me and my time thing. And I started threatening them. Paddle came back. Paddle, that's the one. Has software representing software companies that have cross-referenced your payment records with every single other people, and they have your brand new stuff, and they can renew things without allowing you to say no. Now, what you can do is stop payment at the bank. What that does for me is it puts my ability to buy and other things that I use my credit card or debit card on for 2 to 5 days. The inconvenience is that if I'd been a Gen Xer, I would have probably just given up $41. Who cares? I chose not to with due diligence, and I'm going to go after this people until they change their software because, in fact, the bot that I talked with, this is bullshit, what's going on in America right now, across the board on spamming and other kinds of things where they're No.
Yeah, and we have talked quite a bit off air about what
I can't hear you.
Well, what I was going to say is we've talked.
How do I change my sound? By the way, where would I do that?
Do
More?
what?
I don't know how to use Skype yet. More. Oh, wait a minute. Up here. Let's see what I've got here.
Well, what I was going to say
No,
is...
it's going to circle. I won't even open it. How's that work? This is Skype. Look at me. I'm frozen.
Yeah.
How's that work?
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
It is.
I can't even... Excuse me.
It is. It's all good. And, like me and Rick have talked about, he's being fucked with
finally.
by... Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that either.
I'm trying to get this thing to open so I can change my settings.
Yeah.
Microsoft. I remember when Skype worked really good, like Zoom sort of does kind of now.
Yeah. And,
Microsoft has hijacked all of my platforms. Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and Windows 10. I have 5 computers that just in this room here alone. A laptop, there's a bunch of laptops right over there. And they're all dysfunctional in some reason why. Like, so I'm trying to use LibreOffice rather than Windows 365. I hope they burn him and Haig.
I hear you.
No, I'm not kidding.
So,
this is...
Hey,
I guess
77, trying to finish a manuscript
Gigi.
before I turn into worm food, and this is pissing me off.
Hey, Rick, Gigi, everyone, is there a place where you're selling?
I can't hardly hear you guys. See, it's got the sound system now.
We could promote where you're selling.
Well, I have externals. I have external that were working fine, and now they're changed. I can't open it. It won't let me open. Won't let me open. Settings. There it is. But it won't open.
And that's the thing is Rick and his and by Rick I mean Dr. Richard Allen Miller in his research is very heavily under attack, and it has been for quite some time.
I want to be smiley. I don't want people to see me like that. It's just very frustrating.
I just want to
having to go through this now.
I just want to say that this has been the case for the last 2 or 3 times that he's been on the show.
You're all frozen.
And but we're still going to pull through. and we're still going to have this conversation, despite whoever these people are that are messing with the situation, I guess you could say. But
that's a motorcycle that just went by. This is where I'm living. Is impossible. Nothing is working, and now Skype is not functioning right for me. Why? It says 404 in the last call, 12.5 minutes. 12:53. What time is it? It's only 8:30.
Yeah, it's about 8:30. And
well, it says here it's at 12:30 on Skype, and I can sign out. It says settings. I'm going to hit settings, and it will not open.
Yeah.
And that your friend, the female, is frozen.
Oh, can you even hear me though?
I can hear you barely, but your picture is frozen. You're looking off in the distance somewhere. Okay, Skype. Okay, wait a minute. It's open now. Finally, this is a complaint that I'm going to do formally against Microsoft. This is wrong. I'm on a 7 platform, yes. And I had no problem with you, and then all of this won't open. It's just a white screen. And this was all when I tried to share my screen with you with a funny Alfred E. Newman at age 70. I have a picture of him where he's aged like me. Going down to audio and video settings, we'll see how quickly it doesn't let me choose that. What's wrong? Why is everything frozen?
Yeah, that's...
No.
I'm so sorry, JJ. I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
I didn't do this, honestly. I didn't.
It's okay. No worries. I understand what you're going through, and...
I'm frustrated beyond anything, and it's...
Yeah, and let me tell you, folks, there's a lot of things going on Rick's end that is...
now she's back. You're busy.
That we
now
should...
You can see me?
That we will not talk about. But, yes, there is some fuck... I keep forgetting we can't cuss on this show. There is some effery going on Richard's end, and it's been happening for a while, and I'll leave it at that. It has been a real problem. It's been a real problem. Not only doing shows with Rick here, but also just during phone calls with Rick.
Oh, even on phone calls.
Yeah, even outside of the show. It's been a real problem. And Rick is basically under attack.
Lead scout.
Yeah. And
what's happening to me is going to happen to everybody shortly, probably. It's awful. It's the worst thing it's so frustrating. And the timing on it, almost feels like there's an AI involved.
Oh, look at, yeah.
It's too weird.
It is. It is too weird. And it happens
every
time.
I'm not able to.
It happens every time. Not only does it happen every time on the show, it happens every time that me and Rick talk on the phone outside the show. It happens also there as well. This is a real thing, and I
don't understand why.
Well, I feel like I understand why.
I'm too old to be important. I'm not doing anything secret anymore.
Yeah, but your new theory about the whole, I'm not going to spoil it, but you're working on some new stuff, and there are some people out there that would rather take credit for that rather than you take credit for that. And I feel like that's a part of what's happening.
Huh. I'm so sorry. I've got my webcam microphone on high density, but I'm using actually a Logitech, so I can't get it to change over. Default communications device, and I don't have a default because this is an old computer, so I have external speakers. They have... Can you hear me okay? Am I okay?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
you're
good.
very clear.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
the only source of income that I have right now, besides my Social Security, because remember, I'm a civilian working for the military, is Social Security, which just about covers my rent, doesn't cover my food or all the other things that I do. And so the only way I can live is by writing books. And I'm doing that, and now I'm not able to write books because the platforms don't work. You know, if Windows 7 stops supporting, that's what's probably happening with Skype here right now. Windows 7. I'm working on a Windows 7 platform. And wait a minute. Now it says my automatic adjust microphone way down here, and I'm going to bring it up to 6. It's down at between 0 and 1. My speakers are 5 to 6, and they were up here around 9 because of the internal ones. And then I switched over to my externals, and it worked fine. But now I've rebooted, and it won't do anything. Everything's real slow except here. It's the Skype is working real slow, and that's Microsoft again. And I want to let you know that what they've done in regard to not supporting 7, it's messed me up big time.
Yeah, and
'Cause I won't use 8.1 or 10. The cloud, why would you want to broadcast everything into the cloud where it has no privacy? Especially if you're writing manuscripts.
yeah. Well,
Well, why would you want to do that?
well, I
Doesn't
have a
make
feeling.
sense.
Well, it does make sense when it comes to the fact of the work that you're doing. You're the only one pushing that progress, and they want, I would imagine.
I don't know who they are. That's the part that's bothering me the most.
Well, I
I'm
don't
not
know
sure
who
it's
they
the
are
world order.
either.
I have a feeling it's something much worse.
Yeah, I don't know who they are either. But whoever they are, they recognize your research and your work, and they want to claim it as their own. I think that's what's happening.
That happened with my ex-wife, but she just died, so... My ex-wife, Iona, was CIA counterintelligence, and I was Navy intelligence. Imagine us as a couple for 18 years. We were the kind. But I haven't married her. I haven't been married to her in almost 40. She just died, and I suspect something else is going on. That's with Amazon publishing all of my works without permission.
Oh.
I'm on a short leash is basically what I am. And it's quite obvious even to my military friends. I had one buddy come all the way in from Michigan, Navy Intel, worked out of the Pentagon with me, that said it was above his pay grade. That's encouraging. You know? And I don't have time to figure out how all this stuff works. I want to write, and I can't. You go to Microsoft.
Hold on.
Let's say it publicly, because it's time people start to say something about it. I should have gone with a Mac. They're just as hackable, by the way. They're just not as bad because not as many people use them.
Oh, no.
Hey,
I want to know that. Am I right?
Dr. Miller.
Yes, sir.
Hi, sir. I'm curious if you wouldn't mind just for conversational purposes. Let's put your hat on. Let's say that you're working for the CIA, but this time you're working in other countries and you're trying to manage all these problems that are happening with these various individuals. And right now we've got a problem apparently with Putin and Ukraine. And so now if you're the head of the CIA or you're the guy that's making the decisions, how would you handle that? From the United States perspective, how do you think we should be handling our participation, our non-participation?
We need reporters on site that are actually experiencing what's going on, like they did in World War II and in Vietnam. Independent reporters that are right on site to give me true intel, not confabulated or biased. Good luck with that. Everybody's got an agenda.
Can you share a little bit what you've been told, as long as you don't get in trouble? I don't want to get you in trouble, sir.
You're not going to get me in trouble. I'm just telling you what I would be doing would be trying to put someone on site so I had valid, current, updated, literal information on what was going on. Putin is a dictator. Putin is also a nationalist. He's not trying to expand. He's still at war with NATO from World War II. And, you know, Ukraine has been is a farm belt. It'd be like taking Kansas away from the United States.
Mm.
How would you like to see that happen, where various states were seceding from the Union? The Free State of Jefferson. They wrote that as 1984, and then, you know, I knew these people as a child. Never mind. I know what's going on, and I don't know. And so I don't believe anything anymore. The only thing I can trust is that. I remember when Walter Cronkite, I trusted Walter Cronkite. When Dan Rather came on, I started looking at CNN and some of the other alternatives to get a broader picture of what was going on. Today, they're all complicit.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. There's nothing out there I trust, even PBS.
Well, at least tell us what you do know.
Media is now being used as a weapon. You know, the Russians believe they're right. Americans believe they're right. Who's right? Neither. War is wrong. Period. But what would you do if Kansas was trying to secede from the Union because they didn't want to give you their grain belt and grain? As a metaphor. And CIA theoretically is not supposed to interfere with anything inside the United States. Yet they do. How does that work?
Well, there's from my sources, which are not what you know, obviously, but there's a few other skirmishes that are kind of rising up in other areas, and with this thing happening now, I think we're kind of in over our heads. I don't know that we should get involved from a military perspective. I mean, do you think that'd be a good idea?
Problem. I'm not suggesting nationalism where we're not worried about anything outside of our country, but there is no question. I remember the look on my father's face when he realized he was no longer a Republican. And Democrats, it isn't that Black Lives Matter. What matters is black humor matters. Sorry, this is crazy. I'm not a prejudiced person. What's going on up in Portland, Oregon? Certainly it's not bigotry. Not here. Maybe in some countries or in some, like there, that's a good place to start. How about Ukraine segregating black and white? That's in the media also. You can find that in the New Yorker and the New York Times, both, where they interview individuals from, Nigeria that are living in the Ukraine, trying to flee for their lives, how they're being treated by Ukrainians. What's that about? There's a lot of things going on we don't understand because we're not literally, physically there. That's what I would do as a leader in an investigation outside the country. I'd be on site or have people on site getting me accurate information. And I wouldn't be working with Hoover, who had agendas.
Okay, one more quick question. So let's say down the road here, the
CIA has people. Wait a minute, let me finish this one too. CIA has people that are probably trying to do the right thing. Most likely, like Navy intelligence. It's just called. There's a way of twisting information so it's not real.
Yeah.
It's got an edge to it. And that's not the CIA I used to know. It may be today, like Navy is not like that, but it is. Technology, that's why we ruled the 8 waves. Whatever we did, CIA, Army Intel, were about 20 years behind us. And the people I worked for were always trying to discover. They weren't trying to control or manipulate. But
hey, I want to ask you a quick question. Change the subject real fast. On Navy intelligence, Did you heard of a guy named William Tompkins claimed to be part of the Navy secret space program? Did you
I
ever
don't
hear
know
anything
anything about that. Carol Rosen lives down the street, worked for von Braun. I know and have met von Braun before he died. Carol was a secretary for him. She knows more about that kind of subject. I try not to talk. I can give you opinions, but candidly, I don't know. I can tell you that anything you could imagine is possibly true is probably more likely than not absolutely true and even more. No. Watch the movie Battlefield. It's just on Netflix. It's just out. That's an interesting one where the Navy goes up against aliens.
Oh.
The aliens are an evolved race from salamanders. So they're sensitive to light and things of that nature. It's an interesting concept. I don't know what's really going on. I can guess. And we're all being led like sheep down a slaughterhouse. And I don't think it's just the New World Order. I think it's something even much worse than that. Because I went out of a petri dish and I sense that we are in something way more than just the New World Order. I haven't got a clue yet. May never.
Is that going to be in your book?
Because it's impossible.
Are you going to speculate in your book about that?
Say what?
Will that topic be in your book that you're working on? That this maybe you kind of speculate or hypothesize what could be even worse than the New World Order?
Well, I tell you how 9/11 happened with Building 7. That was a new weapon being deployed called a neutron fullerene fusion bomb. That's how you take a 1,011-foot steel tower and you have it dissolve right in front of your eyes. It's not jet fuel that did that. There's only one thing in nature that will do that, and that's a plasma.
Wow.
Yeah, well, yeah. So what exactly is that all about? Huh? Yeah, there it is. That's what I think is wrong, is that we're not being told truth and plausible deniability.
Yeah.
And
who do you think the Republicans should run against Biden? Since if they're not happy with Biden, and I know you're not going to tell me Trump, but who should the Republicans put against Biden? Who do you like?
I've met many of the presidents. I had to go into Richard Nixon's office once a week as punishment because I wouldn't shoot an American in Cambodia. So, I tell you, they're all intelligent. And they're also, to anybody that would want to be president of the United States, he's got a screw loose. And when you talk about the Clintons, Hillary let those people in Benghazi die. Those are soldiers that were, this is all wrong. We haven't had probably a decent president since Harry Truman.
Wow.
That's my take on it.
Yeah, What about Carter? Did you think Carter was a decent person?
I just been telling you what my gut says. That's why I'm an independent. I'm Democrats. They've all been infiltrated.
What do you think? I'm just going to throw a name out there just for fun. What about Liz Cheney? Do you think she should run for president?
Who?
Liz Cheney.
Don't know
her. Dick Cheney's daughter.
Oh, Dick Cheney's daughter? I don't know her. I don't know her. I know Dick Cheney.
Yeah, well, Liz Cheney's she's a good politician.
Well,
I don't know
I'm not a politician.
Yeah, no worries.
I work from a different code of ethics, and I'm trying to do the right thing, and I make mistakes all the time. I'm not, I don't know. So how come everybody's left? What's going on? Where's Brian?
Oh, we're still.
Huh?
What?
Gigi's right there. I see him.
I'm right here.
Well, I don't see your picture anymore. I just see. Did you turn your camera off or what?
Yeah, we're having some real.
Yeah. What I'm trying to do is before I die, I'm trying to finish 40 manuscripts of work I did with the military and in agriculture and in magic. These are 3 different areas of my expertise where I'm considered a world authority. And I'm being stopped at the most simplest things, just writing a book on tarot. my take on it is completely different than Crowley or William and Westcott or some of the others that have done and contributed to that field. Tarot could be used, rather than the color of the cards and the symbolism involved, could be about Greek pantheon, where there are 22 stories in the big city as a metaphor, and what you're trying to do is identify what storyboards are going on as a way to subcategorize your behavior. And once you do that, each one has an ending, and if you don't like the ending, like Persephone having to take drugs every year at Christmas time, then what you have pathworking to change the movie. That's the way I see magic and tarot, as a useful tool in psychology. Psychology used to be considered a soft science. By the time I studied under James Hillman, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, those were my teachers. And I found that their concepts were harder than some of the things in physics. And I'm as good as it gets in physics. And so I know I don't know. And you can't actually really get there from there. What you can try to do is get close. And that's what I'm trying to do now. Simon says you can go halfway to the door. You can get close.
But not quite.
No cigar.
So what is the tarot book?
I know.
Yeah, so what is so the tarot is more like a storytelling is what you want to do?
Yeah, listen, you're either possessed, which means you have one storyboard only going on. You're possessed, yeah, driven, or you're complex. No way out. You got more than one storyboard going on. Most of us have a good 4 to 7 major storyboards going on at any given time. And each one has a different ending, like Psyche at the Well of Souls and Athena or Persephone or whatever. Okay, these are all the gods, Greek pantheon. That Greek concepts of metaphor, which is our language basically, was their technology. And they reached a really high level before it was developed and crashed. And third generation imaginal psychology is, in my candid opinion, like hypnosis and ESP. At the time I did those studies, they were considered pseudosciences. But today, they're very real. Instinct and hypnosis is a powerful tool for pain, right? Okay, well, psychology is now becoming a little harder with imaginal psychology, where you have storyboards, metaphor, archetypal. Storyboards. And for me, that's the way I use the tarot, is to try to figure out what's going on inside me and my behavior. And I have a lot of things I need to correct. I do. And we all do. We're all, okay? And pathworking, magic, that's why the lodges in the last 4 to 8 centuries were reserved for the ultra elite of each of Europe. All your famous writers, poets, that kind of thing, were part of it because they wanted something more than the physical plane.
Yeah.
We talk about emotional plane and intellectual plane, but then there's the archetypal plane, and then there, it goes on up into the different spheres, our tree of life. And that's what I use as a metaphor for being able to subcategorize certain kinds of behavior and why. Doesn't mean it's right, but it's a closer thing than you're a thinking intuitive, where you have, 4 different possibilities. Now you have 22. The more you subdivide, the closer you get from digital to analog. That's what I'm doing. Okay, now you're getting the metaphor. And that's all it's about. Magic is sleight of mind, where you use your mind as a tool rather than an absolute. That's the way it is. Because we don't have a clue. There are hive consciousnesses, and the high things I hear as sound are insects in the wall. I hear it at 18,000 cycles. They're a high-pitched sound. Now, you hear that? That's an insect. And, the thing, we don't have them categorized so that we identify what we're doing and hearing. We do the same thing with consciousness.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a clue.
Consciousness? What is consciousness then?
how would I put it? I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't have believed it. It's we're and somebody that can tell a story and we believe it, that's what becomes reality.
Sure.
Now I don't know what the war between Ukraine and Russia is, but I'm gonna watch and see because I don't have an opinion, literally. I have friends there that tell it this way and friends here that tell it that way. Which one's right? The correct answer is yes, they're both right. So who knows what's really going on? The only way I would do it if I were a leader in something is go on site and experience it for myself. Have my own opinion, does not mean it's right, and try to be malleable. You know, trying to absorb and get along. That's when the president walks up to the alien in Mars Attacks and he says, why can't we, that's again, Jack Nicholson, I gotta love him, man. He walks up and he says, why can't we all just get along? Right. And the alien has a little tear in his eye, laughs and shoots him. And, you know, that's the way it is. That's Walter Cronkite. That's the way it was.
Hopefully one day we can all get along.
What's that?
I said maybe one day we can all get along.
Good luck with that. That's what actually, in fact, made us God's favorite. Was that we had choice and we're as unique from each other. I would say that there are as many religions as there are human beings, and the reason you choose one church over another is that you want to aspire toward those set of values over those set of values. You know, fellowship. Trying to find somebody that has a similar value that you do to help you get more toward your own. And I wouldn't dream of trying to convince you that my way is better than yours because I know it isn't.
Yeah.
I know that from my own old age experience that there's more going on here, and I'm just lucky to have met all of you. Is that a good place to wrap it up?
I was like, how do you follow that?
Well, no, really, you know, I'm an old man. I go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Like, come on, Gigi, it's almost 9.
Hey, Doc Ram, do you remember that movie called Plan 9 from Outer Space?
Yes.
That Gigi, right now, that's what his space looks like. Gigi's on Plan 9 in outer space somewhere.
Well, yeah. I prefer Little House of Horrors myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the comedy aspect of being able to laugh at myself.
Yeah.
There is where Nam exists, or enlightenment. Oh, Buddha. Buddha says true